How's it going, everyone? My name is Andrew. I run MMA Knockout Bets. I've been an MMA handicapper for about 4 years now. I've been on MMA Twitter since late 2017. Started tracking my bets on Bet MMA in early 2018. I think January to be precise. Just recently started to get out in the YouTube game a little bit. Figured I've been betting for a long time. I have a nice sized Twitter following, so just looking to put out a little bit more content for you guys. Today I'm going to break down the Edson Barboza versus Giga Chikadze main event this Saturday on August 28th. We got a striking delight here, guys. I mean, Giga clearly came up on the scene pretty fast in the MMA world. I want to say this is probably his 7th or 8th UFC fight right now. I think this is his 7th, and he has yet to lose inside the octagon. He lost on Contender Series, won a couple fights on the regionals, came back and made it to the UFC in late 2019, and he's kind of been on a tear ever since. He most recently finished Cub Swanson in the first round, which obviously many of you know Cub is a legend of the sport. He has 2 other finishes in the UFC, a couple close decisions early on against Emmers, who's fighting this weekend as well, and against Brandon Davis. And then obviously Edson Barboza, no introduction necessary. He's obviously been in the UFC a really, really long time, I think for over 10 years now, actually. He most recently had a great fight against Shane Burgos where he scored a really scary knockout, very delayed knockout. If you haven't seen that, go back and watch it. He's now down at 145 pounds as he spent most of his career up at 155, faced the likes of Dan Hooker there, Kevin Lee, Benil Dariush, obviously Khabib Nurmagomedov as well, just to name a few. So this is a great fight, guys. Not too often you get these 2 high caliber kickboxers going in a 5-round main event. Not too difficult to see how this one's going to play out in terms of where the fight will take place. Don't think either one of these guys are going to shoot a takedown, and both are pretty, I would imagine, pretty happy. They're not going to be facing many shots on the other side. As you know, a lot of times both Edson and Giga, when they face opponents in the octagon, they're usually trying to take them down, press them up against the cage, pressuring them. I think these guys are going to have the same game plan here, and it's just going to be a matter of who can implement it better. Edson Barboza, obviously, more MMA experience. He's got almost 40 fights now. I think he's at like 35 fights total. Giga, on the other hand, has about 15. Obviously has a lot of kickboxing experience. Edson's 35 years old. Giga's 32 years old. They have similar reach, similar striking stats too. The one thing, I'm not much of a stats guy for those of you who know me. There's some people who bet MMA based off stats. I personally think a lot of that's subjective, and I mainly make 95% of my reads based off of what I see on tape. But when I was looking at the stat sheet before this fight, I thought it was interesting that Giga got outstruck by Jamal Emmers at range, which was a little bit concerning for the Giga side from a betting perspective. And Edson, on the other hand, obviously just came off that nice win over Shane Burgos. He beat Macwin and Amir Khani as well. He's like the kickboxer of the UFC. In my mind, when I think kickboxing in the UFC, I think Edson Barboza. So could this be a passing of the guard here? Maybe. Could it be Edson reigning supreme and proving that there's levels to this? Maybe. That's where I'm leaning in this fight. The betting line is about a pick 'em. I have to lean Edson there. Not a super confident pick, but I think just given his experience, his credentials, you kind of have to pick him here until seen otherwise. I don't know. Maybe Giga goes and out kickboxes him, and we know he's really one of the best strikers in the world. But I kind of, it's one of those situations where I call it a show me situation where if Giga's really one of the best kickboxers in the world, show me. But I'm willing to pay the minus 105 or minus 110 on Edson to find out. I think he's just down the stretch the more proven fighter. I didn't love Edson's cardio in some of his fights, but I don't like Giga's either, honestly. And I think Edson, a lot of the time that he's gassed out or slowed down a little bit, has been due to people pressuring him and trying to wrestle him. Giga's not going to do that here, obviously. I think one of Edson's big weaknesses is, I say big weaknesses, one of Edson's weaknesses is when people try to pressure him. He doesn't like pressure, and I don't think Giga's that kind of fighter. I think Giga's going to stand at range, kickbox, throw some leg kicks, throw some body kicks. I know he mixes it up real well on the feet. I think Edson's going to do the same, and I honestly think that until proven otherwise, Edson's the guy in terms of striking at 145 pounds. So My pick's Edson Barboza. Like I said, not a crazy confident pick because I'm still not totally sold on his 145 run. He has a lot of miles on him. Giga's big. Giga's obviously a good kickboxer as well. And those are my concerns on the Edson side. On the Giga side, my concerns would be inexperience, and this is really a step up in levels in terms of kickboxing. So who's the better kickboxer? I think we're going to find out Saturday night. Who am I picking to win? I'm picking Edson. If you want to know my other bets for this card, my Patreon's linked in the bio, in my description. Also, my Bet MMA is linked in my description. You could see my full betting record on there for the past 3.5, 4 years, whatever it's been. If you don't mind liking and subscribing to this video, I would really appreciate it. Almost at 100 subscribers, which is super cool considering I just started this a couple weeks ago now. My Twitter is @BetsandPicksMMA. Give me a follow there. If you want to talk fights, hit my DMs. But thanks for watching, guys, and tune in later in the week for some more breakdowns.